At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, 1918. After 4 years of unimaginable destruction, the guns of World War I finally fell silent. In a railway car deep in the Compiègne forest of France, Germany, exhausted, starving, and facing invasion, signed an armistice with the Allies. But how did the war get to this point? And what was the world's reaction? The war that began in 1914 had consumed the world. 9 million soldiers were dead, 21 million wounded, and millions of civilians lost to famine and disease. Empires on both sides of the conflict had fallen. Russia, the Ottoman Empire, Austria-Hungary. Germany now stood alone. By autumn 1918, mutinies spread, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated, and a new German government sought peace. France's Marshal Ferdinand Foch chose a secluded railway carriage for the signing, away from crowds and politics. At 5 a.m. on November 11th, German delegates signed the agreement. They really had no other option. The ceasefire took effect 6 hours later, symbolically, at the 11th hour. Some soldiers cheered, others wept. One American wrote, "We cannot comprehend the stillness." The armistice ordered Germany to surrender weapons, evacuate France and Belgium, and release Allied prisoners. It was not yet an official peace. That would come with the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, but it marked the world's collective sigh of relief. For the French, that train car became a shrine to peace. It was transported to Paris and placed in a museum. For Hitler, 2 decades later, it became a stage for revenge. For in 1940, he would force France to sign its own surrender in the same railway car in the same forest, part of another world war that would be even more destructive. But on that November morning in 1918, the world believed it had seen the war to end all wars. For a brief moment, at 11 o'clock, hope was louder than the guns. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1919, the US and many nations around the world commemorate the first Armistice Day. In 1921, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is dedicated at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. In 1942, during World War II, Congress approves lowering the draft age from 21 to 18. In 1954, the US celebrates its first Veterans Day, expanding Armistice Day to honor all veterans. Also in 1954, 50,000 men and women from coast to coast are sworn in as US citizens. In 1996, 4 priceless books are stolen from the Addams family's Stone Library in Massachusetts. In 2018, more than 60 world leaders gather in Paris for the 100th anniversary of the Armistice. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. Just 2 months after the 9/11 attacks, a plane crashed in which New York City borough, killing hundreds? Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, or Staten Island? Liked learning about the day World War I ended? Then you'll love this one about Germany's plan of attack at the start of the war 4 years earlier. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.